Good morning, getting here. Hey, my name is Keita Witten. I am embarking on a 28-day Radical Heart Challenge. It started in Maine. I'm tuning in from Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. I think a town of Lema. Um, so bom dia, right? Good morning. So last night I did a recording. Yesterday was the 26th day, and it also is February 26th, and today is the morning of February 27th, which makes this the 27th day. So last night while I did a recording, there was some glitches, some, what do you call those in the machines? There's a funny term, I can't remember right now, but it's called the gremlins in the machines. And so the gremlins and the machines, I'm gonna get over here as I talk to you. Looks like the battery's kind of low. So that's what happened last night, actually. The battery was low. I was recording, and the whole thing just cut out on me, right? Plug this in, bada bing, bada boom. And then we just change my location. Okay, so I want to get in here real quick. Some of the things I'm noticing, particularly this morning in quiet contemplation, we've been really go on this trip, visiting a lot of museums. So today we don't have to get up so early. So one of the things I noticed is that I had more time to check in regarding the morning. And I noticed that there's something different about checking in the morning than in the evening. Checking in with myself. So when I talk about the morning, I recognize as soon as I got up, my head is full of noise. And also, it's interesting because there's an angst in my gut, in my system. And that angst and gut in the system, my brain starts searching for meaning, and usually it starts to find something. So if we understand the chemical cocktail was happening in the brain, trying to remembering is going to the hippocampus, like the memory file is still of the brain. So brain is trying to match the chemicals that are being released to make it make sense and make it a story, right? Oh, this is why, right? So I notice I wake with some type of angst in my gut or my body. So this is really interesting, checking in with myself in the morning. And I think we all do that to a little extent. For me, what was really aware was that there was something in my belly, in my gut, that was signaling. And so the question becomes, as me watching me checking in with my body, is okay, something is there, right? And so my brain will go right into meaning making. What's the story? We got to match the chemical that's happening in my body. And what I realized is, oh wow, maybe I don't have to find the story. Like, I know my brain is doing it, but maybe I can interrupt that. So I practiced this morning actually going, why do you think that? Is there a tiger really in the room? Does it have teeth? And when I realized when I did that, all of a sudden there may be a tiger in the room, because this is another piece that's important, but it's in the corner gently purring. Why did I say that? Because the more you fight to say the tiger isn't in the room, it creates a whole new level of anxiety. If anyone saw that film, A Beautiful Mind, you remember that the guy, the brilliant man, had to make peace with his alter egos, his schizophrenic personalities that were hanging out with him. So he didn't fight to push them away. He found peace. And I think that's what I recognized for me in my gut this morning. There was a chemical cocktail that was rising up. And once I connected that was happening, I noticed my brain went quickly into story and meaning making. Wow. So now I'm going, wow, how do I actually wake up every morning? And I believe, I realize that's a long story, a long history of how I wake up in the morning. Jump, jump, go, 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 jump, jump, go, 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 jump, jump, go, go, go. Pick up phone, make a phone call, rush out to whatever, da 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 da. And when I moved out to where I am living in Maine, and I started to retire from my practice as a trauma psychotherapist, I recognized that there were angst around the fact that I wasn't producing. So I was still finding ways, even though I didn't have clients, I'm still finding ways to jump up and do something to make my day productive. The good news is that it gave me time to start diving into my art. But it begs a different curiosity, and that is, wow, how do I wake up every morning? So being in this 28, that was the phone that just crashed in the background as I went to pull my phone charger to, anyway, you know what happened. You know, we talk about this a lot in trauma therapy, about the chemical cocktails, yada, yada, yada. And so this morning, I was the watcher watching me not only arise, but also watching me recognize what was unfolding with that whole, some people want to call it cognitive triangle, perhaps. But anyway, there is a pattern. So I am, I guess my takeaway, and this will be a combined day 26 and 27 with just one more day for the Radical Heart Challenge, is these microaggressions. Yep, that's what came up, are microaggressions that I assault on my own body, like every day. And it's interesting because you can wake up with it. So that also reminds me that what is it that's in my body that makes me wake up still with devil's chemicals ready to go? Is that an addiction? Am I addicted? And then the meaning making, right? So the meaning making was also part of the little girl trauma bearing, because when you live in a house that's unpredictable or chaotic or loosely structured, and when I say loose, for some people, loosely structured can be okay. And for some other people, some of that structure is important. Won't get into all that. But it makes me realize, like, wow, how long has this been driving the bus of me? How long has this way did I greet the day related to how I set the intention of the day? And I'm not just talking about getting up doing meditation. I mean, that's a part of it. And it's like recognizing what is my organic central state of my nervous system. That's really what I'm doing. Now, there's a lot of ways you can work with that, meditation, exercise. But there's a danger in waking up, jumping into these meditation exercise if you're not living in peace, recognizing that the tiger's in the room, right? Maybe petting the tiger, working with the tiger as we move through whatever the meditations exercises. So we're not blocking the tiger. Hey, tiger, there you are. And we're giving the tiger only as much energy that we feel. So if we work with dogs or animals, you know it's energetic vibrations that they pick up. So the metaphoric tiger that I'm talking about is energetic vibration that I'm giving to myself when I wake up, when I'm recognizing that cocktail. It's pretty interesting. So the other thing that came up last night, I want to share from the group when I proposed that I was doing this challenge. So I'm traveling with the Indigo Arts Alliance, and we are on the an immersion art excursion immersion in Brazil, and then we go to Bahia, Salvador, Bahia. When I get back to what I want to say is this piece around we are dysregulated people, and why this practice of heart-centered cohesion, radical self-care, radical heart chakra challenge. And what I got from the group, again, to reiterate, is that we are a cocktail of people of dysregulated nervous systems. So there is an urgency for us individually to get right with our own nervous systems. So, and how then that translates into how we move throughout the whole day and interact with people in the world. So this is why it's a subtle but radical act of activism. Otherwise, we are part of the masses, no matter who we are fighting against or the issues that we're bringing up. If we are not a regulated nervous system, then we have to start asking ourselves, what is that energy? What is that mind feel? What am I bringing to the table? So it's not passive aggressive either. It's not turn the other cheek either, while it can be if we're only responding to the cocktails that are running the show, driving the bus in our bodies. What I mean by driving the bus, we have a myriad of different personalities, and in this 28-day Radical Heart Challenge, I can see some of those different personalities, and I refer to them in some of my earlier check-ins around, is it the anxious little girl? Is it the rebellious teenager? Is it the woe is me Wendy? Is it the anxious Amy? Like those type of things. But only through these pauses and deep reflection. And I don't mean like, I gotta get in my head. I mean, they're quiet, subtle, and you're letting the pieces rise up, and then you're starting to track and recognize. So who's driving the bus of your life, Keita, when you wake up each and every morning is really what I'm dealing with. Like, wow. And in that bus, who are parts of your personality that are not able to drive the bus because other people personalities are dominating the driver's seat? And what would it look like if graceful Gail could drive in the middle of chaos and confusion, for example? So I'm playing with this idea for myself, like, oh, who drives the bus a lot? Who needs to drive the bus sometimes? And who's not on the bus that maybe I want to invite and align with a personality or a place that I'm looking to cultivate within myself? What do I mean? Who's not in the bus? I think, actually she's there, but I think she sits in the back to stay away from all the chaotic people who like to jump into this driver's seat. But I think there's another personality within me that knows, like really knows, just the gnosis. Maybe she's like Sophia. She really knows, she's gifted and talented, and she's not tripped up by all the muck and mire and by the past narratives and all that drama. So I like to invite Sophia, my Sophia, to drive the bus. Maybe Oshun needs to drive the bus sometimes. And people don't notice about Oshun, but she's actually a warrior in a different way than we think about. um, great big heart, which also then brings me to the other place about sometimes the picking and choosing of our battle is about energy, where we're at, what's showing up, and how do we lovingly support ourselves moving through whatever feels tense, chaotic, or afraid, or brings fear. Not everything has teeth, right, Keita? Like, not everything's gonna bite. And so, again, these last few days, that little subtle voice or activism, recognizing that there's an addictive personality component to it. There's a fix that I need to get up in the morning that gets me up going, oh my gosh, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. It's much more effective than a cup of coffee. Then you add coffee to it, that's a whole other catastrophe. I'm getting it. I'm so glad I checked myself into the intensive care unit so I can be checking out, hanging out with me. I'm so glad that I'm witnessing me witness myself in the process, and I'm watching, right, even right now as I speak, who's witnessing this conversation that I'm having. So the other person in the bus is the all eye seeing. Maybe it's the eye of Horus. I don't know. But it's definitely part of the universal, the galactic collective that is, which is the omnipotent, which is the omnipresence, right? God, and the shorthand God. So God is watching to the ultimate eyes. And I'm not a saint, and I'm not a mystic, and I'm not perfect, and none of those things. It's just me practicing in this 28-day Write a Hell Card Challenge all the multiplicities of the layers that occupy this bio body, being aware of the electrical impulses and the currents and the chemical cocktails that also comprise this experience of the now. And that is a lot how I work as an artist, the multiplicity and the layering. And as an artist, when I'm using a lot of light gold, I'm recognizing that there's light in between all the multiple layers, the gold, the radiant, the light. That's all in between the layers of the pieces that may not look as clear, that may look dark, that may project shadows. There's always multiple layers of light that's also in between all of it. And that we need the light, the gold, the sparkle, the glitter in between the layers, because one yin yang is one, actually. Wow, where did this come from? I think I like doing these better in the morning. In the evening, I find when I check in, I have too much to filter through the day. So this is day 26, 27 combined. I really am connected with what I woke up with. And I get excited about these types of revelations, these types of insights. And it's like, wow, there's another layer. So these micro acts of aggression toward myself, is my takeaway for day 26, 27. And the piece around how I am a dysregulated cell amongst a collective cell, and I'm talking about human beings that are dysregulated people. And we, in the practice of meditation, health, and all these other pieces, that is not to quash and quiet that chemical. It's a way to help us navigate and regulate, knowing that that is what has emerged. So tomorrow when I wake up, I believe I want to practice waking up with a really paying attention to what's the chemical cocktail, using some of my tools, breath works, movement, some of these things, to move it through and to move it through. Wow. Big revelation. Two big runs, right? Okay. Bon dia. It's a great day in the neighborhood. We are going to be going out to some more museums and tours with other artists. By the way, this excursion is amazing. Got my creative juices flowing. I'm thankful that I can show up, that I'm here, I'm thankful that I'm here, that I can show up for myself. I'm thankful that even though it was hard to get on this stupid Facebook or YouTube, whatever, I'm glad that I'm here. It's getting easier to show up for myself. I guess that's another takeaway. It's becoming less reactive to show up for myself. I'll say amen until I see you again. One more day, tomorrow. I will have made it to the 28 days, despite all the problems and glitches with the technology. It is Mercury retrograde. Of course, my posting work. We'll see if this can post today. If it doesn't, I'll have to post it when it comes back. But Mercury retrograde is in full effect. I'm gonna let it go. All right. Much love.